Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So, today we are going to review a couple of figures that, as a matter of fact, I actually did a review on these a few weeks ago. And on the day that the video actually aired, I watched about 2 minutes of the video and I'm like, no, this is unacceptable. I had to delete the video because just prior to filming that video, I had went out and actually spent a good chunk of change to purchase a high quality camera. And because normally when I film, I either film on this cell phone or I film on one of my different laptops, and I'm always trying to get that high definition film, so that the picture quality when I watch it on the TV or something is, it's so it actually gives you like movie industry quality. And went out, got this 5K, high definition camera. I'm like, heck yeah, Hollywood, baby. I was so excited, man. So started filming on that camera and made this beautiful 20, 25, 30-minute video, however long it was. Put it up for premiere the day that it premiered, and I'm like, what is this horse shit? I was so pissed. The quality was so bad, guys. So a couple days ago, I'm going through my video archives, and I was actually looking for this video, and I realized that the video wasn't there because, well, I deleted the video. I actually thought I'd gone back and refilmed it, but apparently I never did. So I got some space this week, some availability for filming, and I figured I'd go back and refilm and re-upload the Zombie Sailors Heels and Faces Public Enemy review video. So I've already talked about it. This is the last set of figures that I was expecting. Currently, I think the Patriot, of all of my pre-orders of everything that was doing, I think the Patriot is the only figure that I have on pre-order that's still doing. I bought that figure probably last June or something. What was it? Last June, last July, last August, whatever it was. And that is still, I don't know. It's still out in the clouds, man. Who knows when that thing is ever going to arrive. So, as of the arrival of these figures, that's it. That's the only one I'm waiting to arrive, and that's basically going to complete my Zombie Sailors collection, because I've talked about in the past, guys, I am not collecting Zombie Sailors anymore. So I don't know if I'm going to do a review on the Patriot figure if or when it arrives. So this might be the last Zombie Sailors video that I ever make. But when I did the review the last time, there were some highlights I kind of talked about when I was looking at this carding. Namely, Legion of Doom. I love Legion of Doom. I am a huge Legion of Doom fan. And anytime you come across Legion of Doom, regardless of what toy line or is manufacturing them, I feel like you gotta stockpile those suckers, man. Like, even if you're not even a fan of, collections, I feel like you gotta stockpile those suckers, because those darn suckers are always valuable. And I think that's what people are always doing, man. They're buying these suckers up, and they're hoarding them, and they're putting them on eBay for like $10,000, 10,000 times the price, and it sucks, because all of this amazing stuff is always available or always comes on the market, and you can never get it on time. So where am I always getting my stuff? Off of eBay, and we're always paying a damn fortune for it, and it's ludicrous. So I'm looking at this Legion of Doom and I'm like, am I stuck? Do I really need to go back and buy one more set for the Legion of Doom? Maybe. I also came across this Ric Flair in blue trunks, kind of, reminiscing back in the 1990 WCW Glue era. And I'm like, you know what? Damn. Freaking Zombie Sailors, they're actually coming out with some stuff I'm actually interested in. So, with the Bloody Ric Flair that came out recently with the Series 4 release, hated the figure. Well, let me backtrack. Maybe not hated. I didn't like the extra thin body and the loose, wrist and all that. It could have been done better. It was okay. I thought the head was adequate. The face was kind of awkward. I like the bloody face aspect of it because it reminded me of the WrestleMania 8 aspect. So I like that part of it. So there were some positives, but there were some negatives. Obviously, the body sculpt, the body was way too thin, very similar to that of, the Hasbro Series 6, right? So, some bonuses, some negatives with that figure. But you come across the blue trunks, I'm like, maybe. And we've been waiting on this Macho Man right here for they came out with this back in 2023? So, and I think there was supposed to be an upscaled 6-inch figure or something. So I don't even know if that's something I got to get still. I mean, they got a Henry Godwinn coming. They got another Ahmed Johnson. But we got Ahmed Johnson from Grapples and Gimmicks. Do we need one from Zombie Sailors now? Bob Holly, I'm not really a fan. I mean, Mr. Hughes looks pretty. They've got a whole spew of figures that I might be interested in. But I know this is a review of Public Enemy, but I kind of feel like I've already done this review, so I'm kind of wanting to hold off on that a little bit. Maybe not a review for you guys, but it's been a review for me, so I'll get to it, I promise. The video is going to be about 20 plus minutes, guys, so there's only so much I could say about the actual figures, right? But Danhausen, at least it's not the exact same figure that we got from the original release back in, what was it, Series 2. So I do like the funky clown wig. Do we need another one? Nah. I mean, I've never watched Danhausen. He's a new age character for me, so Hakoshi, I think. I mean, there's god dang Zombie Sailors. But here's the thing I always talk about. In my estimation, and eBay and Mercari, they're pretty much proving my point with this. When you put these figures out on auction, right? You could do like a 99-cent auction. Doesn't have to be loose figures. They could be MOC. These darn things they only sell for auction for around $15 to $25. So when, Zombie Sailors, Grapplers and Gimmicks are another one, when they try to ask $40 for their figures, they are overvaluing their product. If buyers want to spend $40 on the product, they will buy their stuff pre-order, but they're not buying it pre-order because they're just simply not interested in the product for that price tag. And a lot of buyers, they're like, hey, you know what? I will wait to buy the stuff on eBay. The problem is, I think a lot of resellers think, hey, I'm going to buy 2 or 3 of these. I'm going to buy at least 2 of them. I'm going to buy each of them for $40 a piece. I'm going to sell the second one for $80. The first $40 pays for mine. The second $40 pays for the second one I bought. And that way I can always basically get my figures for free. But they're quickly learning it's not happening. Their figures are just going to sit on their eBay, their Mercari forever because nobody's valuing their figures like that, right? So if I do go on and continue buying this stuff, it's not going to be through Zombie Sailors. If it is through the website, it's going to be on clearance through the website at the end of the year when everything is 50 to 75% off. When these figures start selling for around $20, that's when I will start buying them. But otherwise, I'll pick them up on eBay when the time comes. Because, yeah, I gotta be honest, there are a number of characters that I still would like to get. But as far as picking these up, 2 at a time, one carded, one that I can open up and display loose, I don't want to do that anymore. As we've noticed, countless reviews now. Every single time I open the package, the hands, as wobbly as these are supposed to be high valued figures, right? High quality products, but they're just not coming in great shape. But I've already done this review before, so I know exactly how I feel about Public Enemy. And what I will say is this. Zombie Sailors hit this one out of the ballpark. They did an absolutely fantastic job with these figures. And I think at least having done this review previously, it at least gives me a general idea of the feelings, prior to being able to make this video. So we're gonna start off with Rocco. So this is Rocco Rock, and Rocco Rock, the easiest way to tell him is with black hair. Rocco, I think the only reason that Public Enemy disbanded, so they weren't active very long. I think less than 10 years. Early 90s, I think like 93, I want to say, like 93 to 2002. And I think that's around when Rocco died. What did he die of? I think he had a heart attack. And, I kind of mentioned it in the last time I filmed this video. I mean, these guys aren't like, John Cena or anything like, or The Rock, the greatest shape in the world, but they're still athletes, okay? And when you're an athlete, you're working out, and when you're in the ring, you're mobile. That's good exercise, okay? I don't care how much of a beer gut you got on yourself. You've still got to be in some good shape. And when you have a heart attack, I mean, what was it? Was it alcohol use? Was it drug use? I mean, was it the stress of the business? Because when we hear guys die young, ages 30 plus, 40 plus, young men, prime of their life, in professional wrestling, basically any sport. It doesn't have to be wrestling, but since we're talking wrestling, we normally, suck it up to drug use. I don't know about these guys' personal lives. Were they into drugs, partying? I don't know. Maybe. They could have never taken a sip of alcohol a day in their lives. They could have never done drugs a day in their lives. I assume that they've drank a beer here or there, but that's irrelevant, right? But to die of a heart attack, I mean, that's horrible. Heart disease, man. Like, what is that? Like, #1 killer in America? But these guys were all over the place in the 90s. So, rock and grunge, I mean, what was it? I think I started off like ACW, bounced around to ECW, NWA, WCW, WWF. I mean, these guys were like freaking hardcore, wrestlers. And they were freaking they were highly successful too. Tag team champions everywhere they went. You know what? Scratch that. I don't think they were no, I don't think they were WWF champions. No, I'm almost positive. No. 99.9% sure they were never WWF champions. It's grunge. And let's look at Rocco Rock first. Like I said, I think heels and faces, I think they knocked it out of the ballpark with these figures. So, with Zombie Sailors, there's really probably, maybe 3 or 4 really highlight pieces that they've come out with. So, with that being said, I would probably say that Public Enemy could potentially be top 5. Either both figures being in the top 5, or maybe one is top 5, maybe the other is 6, or 5, 6, however you want to say it. So let's think about that. One Man Gang could be like your number 1 best figure. Maybe Abdullah Butcher at number 2, or vice versa, however you want to say it. I'm trying to think up the line. Maybe Dino Bravo, let's say, at number 3. I don't like the skin tone. In fact, I hate the skin tone. If the arms weren't so freaking long, I think Andre the Giant could potentially be among the best. I think Andre would be on the top 10. I don't know if I would classify him on the top 5, though. But let's keep Andre on this list for now. So, we've got Abdullah the Butcher, we've got One Man Gang, we got Dino Bravo. I mean, those guys got to be in the top 3. Because of history, because of namesake, I think Bastion Booger has to be on there. Again, I freaking hate the AT arms on that figure. I hate the fact that his arms are so in close. But he was an original release for the Series 12 Hasbro. Again, if Hasbro had come out with the Series 12, Bastion Booger was supposed to be one of those figures, right? So I think for that purpose, Bastion Booger has to be among the top 5. So let's throw Andre on there. So that gives us what? 4 figures, Butcher, One Man Gang, Andre, Bastion Booger. That's 4 figures. So yeah. Oh, Dino Bravo, 5. So top 6, top 7, let's say top 7 best figures. Yeah. I mean, that's about it, man. I'm thinking up and down the line. It's sad. They have over 50 figures, and there's about 7 really good ones that they have come out with. Matt Cardona, maybe, if you want to keep going, maybe Matt Cardona from Series 1 potentially can throw in that list, but is he an elite figure? No, but he's just a really good one. Actually, back when Series 1 was made, Series 1 actually had strong joints and everything, so Series 1 was probably one of the best releases from Zombie Sailors, but the last few series, last several releases, has just gone downhill significantly. But what I really liked about this, play pose is perfect. Open hand, you can deal with that. You can still throw a punch, closed fist. Arm separation, incredible. The graphics and display on this is freaking amazing, okay? I absolutely love this. What Zombie Sailors did with these figures are incredible. And solid. Legs, solid. Head, You know, it moves a little bit, not a whole lot. Solid. I think the wrists were probably the only thing. Yeah. So the wrists were the only thing that if you want to, you can move the wrists. So yeah, you can move the wrist around. So I mean, is it flimsy where like you move the figure around, the wrist is just shaking around? No, if you sit there and you twist the wrist, yeah, it's gonna move. But like I said, is it really flimsy where if you just move it like the Hasbro extended arm figures where you extend the arm and you just bounce it back and forth and the arm's just waving? No, it's not like that. But I want the wrist to be stationary where it doesn't move at all. I want it to be like super glued in place because you don't need the wrist to move. I mean, maybe if somebody wants to like change the hand position, but I don't know. Me, I just kind of like it like so. So, like I said, I want it to be like super glued in place. I don't want it to move at all. But otherwise, that right there, head mold, solid. And I think this is the reason why I wanted to come back and make this video, is because this is the one time where I feel like Zombie Sailors actually deserves a true shout out because they did a remarkable job with these. And the last one with Johnny Grunge, your man on the left hand side. And you could tell him apart because he's got the light brown hair. Or, shoot. Look at the darn t-shirts. Duh. You can look at their t-shirts. Or you can look at their hair color. But yeah. I'm over here staring right at their names, and I'm telling you to look at their hair color, but whatever. To each their own, right? uh, very good. Very good head mold. And, same thing with the last figure. The twistable wrist and pretty much everything else that I mentioned with the other figure. Everything is super solid. This head, moves just slightly, but like I said, you really got to put a lot of pressure on it to move the head around. So that is solid work. This tag team, they did amazing work with this. And Johnny Grunge, he didn't freaking live much longer than Rocco Rock. So if Rock died in 2002, I think Grunge died in 2006. What was it? Complications from sleep apnea. I got myself a damn CPAP machine from the VA, and what I want, when you go to the hospital and they put those little things around your ear and it got the little hoses that kind of stick into your nose. I wanted something like that, something that kind of like you stick into your nose, kind of wraps around your ear, so that when you're sleeping on your back, you can turn over on your side, and when you're sleeping on a pillow, it's not bothering you. But no, man, they want to give you like these big old freaking masks that cover your face like this, and like, how are you supposed to breathe like that is not freaking comfortable. All right, and like, and sometimes the darn thing is like has air breathing out, so like sometimes you barely move, and you hear all this air just come squealing out, right? So, or if you want to, so you basically got to be on your back completely, or if you want to try and lay on your side, it's just so uncomfortable. Uh, I got that darn thing like 2 years ago. 2.5 years ago. I don't remember when I got that darn thing, but I have not used that damn machine in a year and a half. Yeah, the freaking VA, they hooked me up. They gave me a damn brand new machine, hoses, tubing, all of these damn accessories that went with it. The works. I use that thing, I don't want to say a handful of times, but very sparingly. And it's like sometimes I put it on, use it for like 2 minutes. You know what? Screw this. Take the darn thing off. Or I'd use it for like half an hour, or maybe I'd use it for a few hours. I'm like, no, this I could not use that darn thing. But sleep apnea, that crap sucks. But I've been getting myself a lot healthier, obviously, over the last several months, and I don't even think I need it anymore. Hopefully, maybe, I don't know. But like I said, that thing is just, I mean, I probably do. I'll probably always need it, but I choose not to use it because, like I said, the comfort is just not there. And until they find something that's more, feasible, sleep wise, because that thing keeps me up all freaking night. And if I can't sleep, it defeats the purpose of the machine, right? I hear like my father-in-law talks like, oh yeah, that thing, keeps him asleep all night. Like he sleeps 10 hours a day or 10 hours a night with that machine. I'm like, I can't do it. I can't sleep a wink with that darn thing on. So, and when I hear that, Johnny Grunge, died from sleep apnea complications, I'm like, you stop breathing for, X amount of time in the middle of the night. One guy dies of heart failure, the other guy dies from, sleep problems. I'm like, basically both are like heart related because you stop breathing, I mean your heart's gonna stop, right? Hmm. Well, what do I say at the end of the video or at the end of every review? If you are interested in these figures, whether I like the figures or not is irrelevant. It is up to you as the viewers. If you have interest in the figures, you are the buyer, you are the collector, it's your call. If you would like them, you can always go onto the Zombie Sailors website and purchase them. Or you can try to find a seller on eBay and see if you can get yourself a better price. Tag teams are always more expensive. So, single figures are about $40. So you got to imagine that tag teams are roughly about $80, $85. If you're going on eBay, I'm pretty sure people are going to try and turn profits on these. So they're probably selling it for like $110 or more. But start watching them. Send an offer if you have to. But someone on eBay, eventually, they're going to realize that nobody's buying it and the prices are going to start to come down. The one thing I will say, if you are going to pay up for Zombie Sailors figures, these were at least worth it. So, I was deeply impressed with the release of the purple card. Was it enough of an impression that I will continue to buy Zombie Sailors? I'm a completist. And I would love to say yes. I started from the beginning. I have every single figure mint on card. I have every single figure loose. Every single variant. But when is the end in sight? I could look at Hasbro and say, okay, it had 11 series, 94 figures. I knew where the end was. I knew how many I needed to get. They just keep releasing figures. You know, Grapplers and Gimmicks, they just keep releasing figures. So it's like, okay, can you like give us an estimation, like how many series you plan on putting out, how many figures you plan on putting out, so that we could kind of like, you know, have an idea. I don't want to come back at, you know, the year 2040 and find out that you've got 2,986 figures out and be like, damn, you know what? I don't want to buy anymore. Sarcasm or exaggeration, but still, you kind of get the idea, right? All right, this went like 10 minutes longer than I wanted it to. I should have just done what I originally planned, and that was just kind of like put this on a table and just film it without me even on camera. That would have been like a 10-minute video, but my ass likes to talk. Goddamn chatterbox. Somebody just needs to like chime in. That's why I need to do these on a live show, so I could just have somebody come into the live chat just tell me to shut the hell up. But I'm gonna cut myself off here, guys. As always, you know, thank you so much for tuning in. Leave a comment if you'd like, and I will talk to you in the comments, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care, everybody.